welcome to Sunday Chat for February 10th, which happens to be the 5th Sunday in Ordinary Time. And today I would like to share with you some reflections on fish or fishing or being caught. Excuse me with my cell phone, I was listening to one of my favorite Spanish hymns, which in English translates into Lord, when you came to the seashore. Anyway, let's get into the perspective of being a fish. And the question that I raised in Sunday Bible Talk is, are you catchable? And when I say you, I don't want to be implying that I'm not part of the journey. It's just easier to use the you sometimes than to include we or me in the equation. But let's get back to the focus on the fish. And so the question, are you catchable, has 4 pieces to it. In the first place, if you're a catchable fish, do you know that you're swimming in the ocean and not in a goldfish bowl? Because if your mentality is goldfish bowl size, then you will not have an ocean mentality and you won't have any sense of possibility. In other words, you'll be quite content to stay where you are, to stay in your goldfish bowl or your aquarium or the little garden pond, and you won't have any desire to go wandering and exploring and discovering, and instead you will simply stay put, enjoying the safety and security of the familiar. In fact, the first step on the spiritual journey to be caught as a fish is to have awareness of the possibilities lurking in the ocean. Secondly, if you do get into the ocean, if you leave behind that goldfish bowl, where do you stay? Do you stay very close to the shore because it's safer there? Do you have a sense of security being in shallow waters? And this means that your lifestyle, perhaps your way of your spiritual journey may be sort of in shallow waters, whereby you do the statistical thing. And when I say that, I'm thinking of a poem by W.H. Auden, where somebody, I cannot quote the poem exactly, it's a long time ago, but the subject of this poem is somebody who lives basically as a security number, social security number. And this person went to school on time, served in the military on time, paid his taxes on time, basically paid for his appliances and his car loan on time, retired on time, and died on time. Now, that's an example of living in shallow waters when there are deeper possibilities available. And these deeper possibilities are where the net is going to net you. So if you stay close to the shore as a fish, you're going to be avoiding the divine net. Because although it can basically extend anywhere and everywhere, it's easier for the divine fisherman if you are in deep waters awaiting to be caught. Thirdly, are you the kind of fish that is lured by light, or do you prefer the darkness? If you've ever seen fisher boats or fishermen or fisherwomen going out in fishing boats late at night, you'll notice that there are little lights that they have. And I'm not talking about the big trawlers that do commercial fishing. I'm talking about small fishing people. I'm talking about fishermen, fisherwomen who go out in their boats and basically bring in a catch to share locally or to sell locally. They're not interested in these great big mega hauls to sell globally, but rather they have a small catch which they either consume themselves or share with family or else sell locally, and they're not interested in huge numbers of fish. But anyway, these little fisher people usually have a lantern on their boat. Perhaps they have LED lights now, but at one point there'd be these wonderful lanterns, and the light would lure the fish. So if you're the kind of fish who likes light, then there's a good chance the divine fisherman can net you. But if you prefer darkness, the darkness of lies, the darkness of ignorance, the darkness of willfulness, the darkness of sin, the darkness of not knowing, if you prefer that kind of darkness to the place of illumination where all things are made visible, where all things are clear, where truth is spoken, then it's unlikely the divine net will find you. So one sure way to escape it is to stay in the dark instead of the light. And then fourthly, are you the kind of fish that once netted will do your best to escape? So imagine that the divine net has actually caught you. Will you be content to stay in that net? Or will you rather do everything you possibly can to break free, perhaps making a hole in the netting, perhaps flipping or flopping overboard, doing anything you can to resist being caught? Resistance to the divine net is basically a major impediment in being caught by Christ. So if you're in a place of resistance, or a place of turning your back on the Christ, or turning your back on the fishing net, to continue the metaphor, you will be let go, because Christ does not impose his will on us, but rather we have to be willing to be caught. And so if you have put up a huge fight, a huge struggle, then back into the ocean you will go to swim around, perhaps for a few years or so, until you're ready to be found, ready to be caught. So you'll go around like a little lost fish. I'm not using sheep imagery because that would be to, again, mix metaphors. So the way then to be caught is to, first of all, have a state of awareness as to where it is we are actually living. If we have the awareness of a fishing bowl, we're unlikely to be caught. But if we perceive the immense, vast ocean of possibilities and spiritual wealth that we live in, then we're more likely to be caught. Are we the kind of fish who stays in shallow waters, in which case we won't be caught? Or do we dare to venture into the deep, in which case we might be caught? Are we the kind of fish who go seeking light, in which case we will be caught for sure? Or do we go back to the darkness, where we will stay in the gloom and the doom until we change our ways? And fourthly, are we, once caught, willing to be caught? Are we willing to surrender to the divine embrace, to the divine net? Are we willing to let go of all the control we imagine we have, and let the Christ be the one who controls our lives instead? Do we give ourselves in surrender to God, or do we imagine that we are the ones in charge of our lives and live as though we ourselves are divinity? Those are our choices. And swimming around as a fish, you might have some idea as to whereabouts you are in terms of that net. Only you will know the answer. Now, I made the mistake of not turning off my cell phone, for which I apologize. But yeah, this is a scam, I'm afraid. I have to turn this off. And instead of listening to the scam, I would rather close with going back to my beautiful hymn, and that will be my closing note. So from Sunday Chat, I wish you many blessings. Blessings for Sunday the 10th of February. And I hope you will join me in the ocean. I hope you will join me in that net. And I look forward to many fish tales with you in the future.